Good evening and welcome back. I'm so excited to see you all. So glad you came back to check out this second episode of Minding My Damn Business. I'm so excited tonight. I have a very special guest and we're going to get started here. Well, first, let me introduce myself. I am B Wise and I am what I call a former full-time employee turned full-time entrepreneur. And just an overall fun, witty girl that is living intentionally to create the life that I want. And tonight I am hosting my very first guest, and I'm so excited. This lady here has been a very intricate and inspiring part in my journey as I ventured out to become a full-time business owner. She is a mom and she is a boss, like a boss. And she is extremely successful and very motivating and just wins at everything that she does. She is Angel Livas. And I'm just going to read through real quick her bio. So Angel is a Gracie Award winning executive producer, y'all. Right. So she is the CEO of DC Media Connection. She is also the founder of the Women Behind the Business, which is a space that she created to help women business owners network and learn and connect with each other in order to grow. That's how I met her. I came across her events and I attended one and I got hooked. So without further ado, I want to bring on Angel.
Hello.
Angel! Hello. So I'm not sure if you just heard, well, I'm pretty sure you did hear what I just said, but I just want to thank you, right? Because when I met you a few years ago, I was still doing my fire department thing and I had my side hustle going, my baby.
Which is jewelry.
Girl, you repping for the
Foxy.
Okay. And man, the women behind the business events that you were hosting and creating, I would find myself DC, even Detroit. And because I was so drawn into that environment, the environment that you create for women business owners and, the mentorship and the coaching that you authentically provide women in order to win. And, when I took my jump, when I took my leap, a lot had to do with that nurturing that I got from you and the coaching and the girl, what are you doing? Just do it. Just do it. And so I am so grateful for you. And thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Well, first off, let me say I'm humbled and I'm honored that you have found the woman behind the business to be a motivational aspect for you. And so I'm totally humbled, but the work is all on you. A lot of people can show up, but without implementation, it's nothing. So kudos to you for taking those steps.
Thank you. So we're just going to jump right in because I feel like you have a lot to share and you are like very aligned with what minding my damn business mean. So, I spoke about you being a mom and a successful businesswoman. And, I'm looking at your history and the things that you've done. And you've produced programming and content for Larry King and Jane Pauley, and content for Bloomberg's Money and Politics and the NBC Nightly News. Like, that's some major stuff right there. Right. And so what I say about minding my damn business is we are in society now and we are so inundated with distractions and all of these external factors and all of these opinions and people and experts that somehow can get into our mental and throw us off, keep us from being focused to what we need to do in order to win. And people who reach a level of success, they have these moments where stuff ain't it's not peachy.
Copacetic.
Yeah, it's not easy. And like you have to get super hyper focused to drown out all that stuff in order for you to get to the vision and the goal. So like that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I wanna start with Baby Angel. Like I want to hear, how did we get the Angel Livas today? So tell me about Baby Angel.
So I'm going to tell you about Baby Angel, but I also want to tell you something that I know you don't know. I'm also producing Tamar Braxton's new podcast called Under Construction that just launched last week. So that is another element to the content production that is being created and that I have the fortunate opportunity to be able to be a part of. So
I told y'all she was badass.
But I mean, you was going through it and I was like, oh dang, I never told her. Like, yeah,
Right.
a lot of people don't know. So, but yeah, that's my little secret I've had. So Baby Angel was very, I don't know, I was very different. I was that different child. So I'm one of 3 children. I was double promoted in kindergarten. And I literally have always been the youngest person in the classroom. But at heart, I've always been an overachiever. And so I can literally just remember the interactions that I would have, whether with family and friends. When we moved from Detroit, because I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit, but when we moved from Detroit to the suburbs, my dialect changed. My, certain things about me just shifted. And I didn't try to make it happen. It was like a natural thing that took place, right? And so over time, I just remember people being like, oh, she thinks she's better than, or why she talks so proper, or whatever. And it was like, I'm not trying to speak like this. It's just how I speak. And I remember, my cousins even, or my aunts will be like, oh, you sound like a little white girl. And I'd be like, well, wait a second. Like, why can't I just be Angel? You know what I mean? And so after growing up with that, it's just funny that that one thing that was such a hindrance, or that one thing that made me kind of like the odd child out, is the one thing that makes me money today. My voice and being able to speak and being able to create content and be able to host shows and all of those different things. So it's this amazing parallel, like, and I always tell people, tap back into who you were in your youth, tap back into those gifts and talents that you had. And to that point, I can remember just content wise, like I do a lot of content creation, not just for video and audio production, but marketing materials and graphics. And I can remember putting on plays after church, where my brother and my sister, I would have them like as the casting, members. And it was like, no, y'all gonna do this, because I hated MASH. And so that was what we would come home, and that's what I would put together. And I would create tickets for my parents. I would create programs for my parents to actually come to the plays. And I remember having this conversation with them as I was an adult, and they were like, yo, like, if you think about it, this was always in you. What you're doing today, it was always in you without any formal training. You knew how to do these things. And so I always encourage people just to look back on those things, especially if you're having a hard time figuring out your purpose or your passion. What were you very intentional about doing without any guidance as a child? And so I know you spoke about me being a parent, and that's one of the things that I do with my children as well. Like, I keep a very keen eye on what their natural abilities are, the things that they just gravitate towards, and I really try to mold and shape certain things around those skill sets.
Wow. Okay. And so from that point, it sounds like you knew what you wanted to grow up to become. You know, a lot of times, when I was younger, I wanted to be 35 different things. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a epidemiologist, a flight attendant, a supermodel at 5'1", and I ended up as a firefighter paramedic. So it's like,
Right.
but it sounds like you had some type of understanding at a very young age. Is that what actually led you into media? Did you like already know?
I remember my senior year in high school, we had to do a project where we had to pick a career and we had to investigate it and we had to do a report on it. And I did a report on a news anchor. And I remember it kind of came to me because I was like, I'm going to be somebody that everybody knows. That was the one thing that I knew. Like, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew that. And it was, I think it was Diana Lewis in Detroit. She had came and she had spoke at an assembly. And everybody was all wowing over her. And I was like, it's just Diana Lewis. Like, chill out, people. Like, this is what I'm thinking in my head, right? But the recognition, the excitement that people just got, and it was just merely because she was on television. And I was like, well, if I don't make it as a singer, if I don't make it as this, then I could always be like a broadcaster, right? And then when I did the project and learned about like what it really meant to be a broadcaster, I fell in love with the idea of being a voice for people who may have felt like they did not have a say, where they were just being told that this is what life was, or this is how something was going to be. And I've always had like this humanitarian heart, this heart of like for the people, you know, and to be able to speak on behalf of the people was very powerful to me. Mm-hmm. And so when I realized that I could do that in journalism, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this.
Okay. Yeah. So you are a Howard University grad.
Yeah.
But you were born and raised in Detroit. So how did you get from Detroit to the DMV, where you made it your home after you graduated from Howard?
Okay. So going back to that childhood story where I said, you know, the way I spoke, the way I carried myself, all of those things. When I got to high school, actually in elementary school, it was like my brother and I, and there was like one other Black family in my school. By the time I got to high school, the school system was a lot more diversified. But still, like, if you go from elementary all the way up to high school and it's primarily just you and majority, by the time I got to high school, I had two Black teachers, two Black female teachers. And one of them, it's funny enough, I spoke to her today. And the other one was like the polar opposite of my one teacher that I'm still very good friends with. And she was like, do you know that you're Black? And I was like, huh? What you mean? Like, what do you mean? Of course I know that I'm Black. She was like, I don't think you know that you're Black. And I was like, well, what does that look like? What does that mean? And she's like, you know, you talk like a Valley girl. You twirl your fingers and say like all the time, which I think I still say like quite a bit. And she was just like, yeah, no, we need to have an intervention. We're going to have a meeting with your parents. And yeah, I think you need to go to a Black school. Like, you've been around all these white people all your life and you're lost. Yeah, like, and I was just like, really? Like, did I just get told that I don't know that I'm Black? And I didn't know how to really take that, you know, in that moment. At the time, I may have been like 15 or 16, because again, I was double promoted, so I was pretty young. probably about 14, 15. And I was just like, okay. And I mean, I really hadn't decided where I wanted to go to college. I knew I wanted to get out of Michigan. Now that I knew. And she was a Delta, and she was very like very assertive and very aggressive. And I was like, I don't know where she went, but I don't want to go there. But somehow or another, she like really like I kind of felt where she was coming from, because I mean, I wasn't around a whole lot of Black people, and the Black people that I was around, even my family was like, girl, like you act different than the rest of us. You know what I mean? And so it was,
oh my goodness.
that's what happened. So I said, all right, well, I guess maybe I should go to HBCU. And then that was a whole nother experience. Like culturally, it was a culture shock.
Yeah. So you're in this age of influence, and like the people who influence us most during that age, your teacher like gives you this intervention that you need to check into your Black culture. Mm-hmm. So you head on over to Howard University, mm-hmm. which is blackety black. Black.
The Mecca.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so going on campus for the first time, being away from home, the HBCU experience, how did it hit you?
So I would say like I was super excited, one, because I was away from home, and like I said, like I've always been very outgoing, right? I'm a total extrovert. So like meeting people was never an issue. Like I was good. And I became friends with this group of people who I later found out would research the people that they decided to be friends with to figure out like what their families did, and like I felt like, what's their economic status type thing. And it was just like, what? Like, who does this? And it was funny because the lady that I ended up interviewing, her name was Amir Jacobson Sr., and her daughter actually went to Howard the same time that I was going off to Howard. So we had connected before I even went. And so she ended up being one of the people in my group of friends. But it was weird how that happened, but neither here nor there. The people I've ended up becoming like closest to ended up being it ended up being a very interesting group of people, from the standpoint of we were supposed to go out to a party one day. It's better for me to just tell the story than to try to explain like what kind of people they were. And then that way y'all can make your own decision.
Right.
So we went to a party. We were supposed to go to a party, but earlier that day somebody had broken into my car. Okay. And so my window was busted. I'm like, well, I don't want to go nowhere. Like, I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean? Like, no, right? And so one of the guys we were supposed to go to a party with, he had a Range Rover. And so I was like, well, I don't want to go. And when I said that, the rest of the girls were like, they didn't want to go. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be the reason why everybody end up mad at me. I'll go. I'm a rat in the trunk. So we leave and we're driving, and we're in DC, where Howard is, and the party that we were supposed to go to was at GW. And we're on Pennsylvania Avenue, and I just remember like one of the guys being like, yo, why are we friends with her anyway? Like, she's dark, and she's Black, like she's dark skinned, like we're light skinned. I'm like, what? Like, what did you just say? And I'm in the trunk already. Okay. So now we got this whole light skin, dark skin, and I'm the Black one up in the trunk. Okay. So I'm like, wait a second. Now, the cute little proper little Miss Angel, that was out the window. Detroit had come and showed up. Okay. And I was like, say that one more, run it by me one more again. And he said it again. I said, yo, like, and I like went off. And so he was like, what, you want to fight? I was like, let's go. Get me out this trunk. Let me out. Let me out. And so I remember like getting out of the truck on Pennsylvania Avenue, ready to fight. Did not care. I was like, what we're not about to do is make me feel bad about my complexion, right? Exactly. And for it to become a thing where you're questioning whether or not you should be friends with me because of my complexion. Mm-hmm. Like, who does that? And so, you know, at the time, I'm like 17, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what in the world? Like, how do I grow up in a predominantly white neighborhood, never encounter this, go to a historically Black college and university, and this is what I run into?
Wow. So, you know, that experience at 17 away from college, and you have this group of people who you think are your friends, and you know, we hanging out, we partying, we clubbing. Once that happened, did you separate yourself from that group, or did you kind of just, because most people are just gonna go along because we want to feel like we're included, you know, mm-hmm. or you know, feel like, especially that age, like the need to be validated and mm-hmm. be a part of something. So what was the outcome of that?
So initially there was a level of like, I wanted to understand, because you have to understand there were 3 guys and 2 or 3 girls in the truck, right? Along with me. And the dudes I wasn't checking for, but the girls, I would have expected them to say something. I would have expected them to have done something, even if it was after the fact, right? And that never happened. And so I could say this year, me and one of the girls had a conversation about it, because we had never really talked about it since college. And I was just like, you do remember what happened, right? I just want to bring this up, like, so we can let this go.
Exactly.
And she apologized. You know what I mean? And so I know since then, like, I've had a conversation with one of the guys. He apologized. But in that moment, it was disappointing, because you think, oh, I've established like this really good relationship with this group of people, but then you see that it was very superficial. It was very much like, you really didn't like me per se, because if you did, you would have defended me. That's how I felt, right? And so I literally like broke away, you know, and it was just like, I'm good. And I can honestly say, if I'm to be completely real with myself, it definitely shifted my collegiate experience, you know, and my ability or desire to really want to become close with other people in college. But it didn't shift my focus, because I still graduated magna cum laude, and you know, all that.
Yes. So that's what I mean, because, you know, individuality is big in the realm of minding my damn business, like celebrating yourself. Like, other people's opinions has nothing to do with you. Like, the perception other people have of you, or whatever, the colorism, the sexism, that stuff has nothing to do with you. But a lot of times we absorb it, and then it knocks us off, you know, focus, along with all the other external distractions. And like, so you were just like, F all y'all. Well, I mean, not literally.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it literally became like I've always had the I can show you better than I can tell you mentality.
Yes.
And so the sweetest revenge is getting your money, right? The sweetest revenge is for somebody to look back at you and be like, dang, I did that person dirty. And you have to deal with it. You have to absorb those emotions. And if I went on to be nobody, right, or to do nothing with my life, you would probably forget about me. But if you see me, if you hear me,
oh,
that's the sweetest revenge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. And you graduated what?
Magna cum laude.
Oh, excuse me. All right. But wait a minute, I need to touch on a few other things. What's the other collegiate background?
Have I done?
like advanced academia. So go ahead and put it out there.
So my master's is from American University, where I have a MA in what is it? Public affairs, with a specific specialty in interactive journalism, and then I have an advanced management, an advanced project management certification from Stanford, and then I have a mini MBA in social media marketing from Rutgers.
Y'all, this gal, this lady, this gal. I mean.
So silly.
Black girl magic. Okay. So bring us to the angel today. Like you're a mom and you're like recently divorced, right? So, how are you getting through all of that distraction, like divorce and trying to mend the family and create a new normal? Like, briefly tell us about that.
So I think for me, like, I think I'm a lightweight workaholic. I can confirm that I am a high achiever, overachiever.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably an overachiever. And so I am energized through working, right? Like, as long as I can make some things happen, as long as I can stay creatively active, nothing else really bothers me. And it's been a very interesting, I'm gonna say 365 days, because my divorce finalized essentially almost exactly a year ago. And then you got COVID that happened. Then you got all of these other things, in life that you have to deal with. And as a full-time business owner with 2 children, who are 6 and 7, and in the midst of COVID, you're now homeschooling 2 children, running 2 businesses, and still excited about life. Nothing but God, okay? But I think honestly, it's really just activating that purpose and being excited about waking up every day, not knowing what the day is going to bring, not knowing who you may meet, not knowing how these interactions are going to draw you closer to that divine life that you're supposed to be walking in. And I think for me, that's the beauty of it, right? Like, yeah, I can sit and I can mope and I can complain, but why? What is it going to change? I'd rather be excited and be like, yo, let me create something. Let me go do this. Let me continue doing what makes me happy, even if I'm not getting paid for it. And I can honestly say this season, I created so much content because it was just like, well, I have time to do it. I'm home, right? So as long as my clients' work is getting done and my kids are getting their schoolwork done, why can't Angel do some of those fun things that takes me back to my childhood that I love doing, right? And so that's what I did. Like, I created about 4 shows over the course of the year. And that's how I Am Black came about. I Am Black has won almost like 5 awards. It was a
Wow.
documentary that I literally put together with my team. We did it in under 3 weeks, and it launched on Juneteenth. The documentary has won awards. It's airing in film festivals even right now, and that was never even something that I thought that I would do. It wasn't even on my radar of things to do, but I had time to be creative. I had time
And wait a
to.
minute. And you said so that happened this past Juneteenth.
Yeah, this year.
Okay, right. In the middle of a pandemic, recently divorced, 2 children, homeschool or private homeschool. Homeschool.
Well, they're in private school, but schools shut down because of COVID.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're home virtual learning.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. So the point is get to work.
Yeah.
Like get focused.
No excuses.
And get to work. Wow, wow, wow. So look, we're going to wrap this up. I want to dig in a little bit further for a few more things. So what are your biggest distractions? Because I feel like we all have some type of distraction, but the difference is you're able to check it real quick to get back on track.
I would say my biggest distraction is travel. And
let
me tell you, in the past, I've been able to marry that distraction with work, right? Yeah. And that's why I created a retreat in the Bahamas, right? Because it was like, yo, like, let's go do something somewhere else. If I create a chapter there, then I can go there, check on the chapter. Let's do this in Ghana. So I know my love and my need to travel. And so I just married it into my work. And I feel like if you know what your distractions are, if you know those things that are like, that could be a hindrance, because I'm going to take a vacation. It's just going to happen. So I might as well make money while I'm on my vacation or make those connections while I'm doing those different things.
Yes. Because you were all over the place last year. And the necklace.
Even the top of this year.
The necklace, y'all, made it to Ghana. It was in Ghana, y'all.
Yes. The necklace and the earrings. Yep. This is a whole B Foxy set that I felt it was appropriate to rock for the interview.
Yes. And I'm sitting here in Baltimore like, yes! Yes! Okay, so too, what are your rituals? Like, what are your habits and your go-tos and the rituals that you do to keep you grounded?
I would say I regularly recite certain affirmations. I always, at least once a week, sometimes it's every day, listen to certain sermons and just motivational words. But one particular affirmation that I speak over myself, because I think that we all have seeds planted within us, right? And so I always say, in some variation of this, activate the seed within me so that I can walk boldly within my purpose, so that I can have the abundant life that you have created for me.
Wow. I like that.
And I just feel like in saying that, it speaks so much truth into really what is within us. And a lot of times it sits dormant and we don't tap into it. We don't really take the time to be like, yo, like, what is that purpose that I'm here for? You know, we might do certain things because we might like it, but is it really walking within the purpose that God created for you, right? And I think sometimes it's just being silent and just listening and asking, like, there's something in me, and I know that you have the power to activate it within me so that it becomes aware to me, and open the doors so that I can see very clearly, like, this is the path that I should be taking. Order those steps So I am going down the right pathway towards that life of abundance, because that was the one thing that we were all promised, to live a life of abundance.
Exactly. Yeah, let me pass
So
the plate. Let me pass the plate. But you said something that, so one of the pillars of minding my damn business is solitude. And a lot of people don't know how to grasp solitude. Like
baby, let me tell you. If there's nothing else that I feel like people should have grasped and learned from 2020, it is to learn how to be in isolation and solitude and turn that into your what's next, to turn that into your pivot, right? And really dive deep into, who are you?
Exactly.
Who are you? Like, there's so many people who have been carrying this facade, like they had to have this bag and these shoes, and they out and they're doing all these things. But when you're stuck in your house, who are you? When you when you don't have somebody to show out for, who are you? When you can't go into, whatever it is that your quote unquote thing was, when you have to sit by yourself, are you comfortable with who you are? Or do you start to see some things that you don't like? And when you take all of these layers off, because they're stripped off right now, because you can't go nowhere, right?
Exactly.
So now you're all of these flaws and all of these things that you might need to work on, they're exposed. So in this moment of isolation, how are you showing up for you? How are you taking this time to really evaluate who you are and be like, yo, I need to work on that. That's not that cute. That's not working.
It's not cute.
It's not cute. You know what I mean?
That's a whole word.
And I feel like each of us have had that. If we have really taken isolation seriously.
Yes.
If we have really taken it seriously, we have been able to sit back, look at ourselves, and be like, in business, I'm not doing that no more.
Mm-hmm.
With my family, I'm not doing that anymore.
Exactly.
I'm going to make time for this now. You're able to put things into perspective. Yep. And that's what happens when you're in isolation. So, I mean, and if you're running from it, you're running from you.
As I roll out more episodes, I'm gonna get more into my personal story. And my transformation, most of it I went through way before there was a Facebook, it wasn't no cameras, it wasn't no platform that I could go live and start talking about shit. It was me in this house,
right,
by my damn self,
right,
talking to walls and talking to the damn pillows,
right, whatever gonna listen.
Exactly. And I spent many years having to sit with some crazy stuff that went on in my 20s and early 30s. And it's needed. You have to go into solitude. And now, as a Buddhist, when we chant to the Gohanzen, which is our mirror that we polish through chanting. And the mirror reflects back to us the things that we need to evolve from and fix in order for us to gain enlightenment. But that's a whole nother issue, topic,
episode.
So last thing, what inspires you?
I would say today my children. But I haven't always had children, right? And so I would say I inspire me. Like the desire to reach that plateau, that level of why I am here. Knowing that there is a reason that I'm here beyond me, knowing that I feel like there's people depending on me. Because when you have a purpose, your purpose is rarely for you, but you have to activate that purpose so that you can channel and be what other people around you need. And so knowing that there are other people riding on me, fulfilling my purpose, and just walking in this state of abundance, that to me is what it's so inspiring, and that we have this godly power within us. And if we all have a little bit of God within us, there's nothing that we can't do.
Exactly. I love it. Man, I hate to end this. Like, I'm having so much fun, but I'm definitely going to bring you back for a future episode because you have so much to share and so much to inspire all of us. Man, I'm sitting here like, let me book a session. Thank you so much for joining me tonight and sharing with my audience. How can they follow you or how can they find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Angel N Livas, just as it says in the lower third there, Angel N Livas. And you can definitely check out the website, angelnlivas.com. We have a couple new books that are out. So definitely check it out. Makes great holiday gifts. And yeah, the book that's coming out in February is only available on the website right now. And that's How Do You Transition into Full-Time Entrepreneurship. That book is called Side Hustle to Main Hustle.
Oh yeah, y'all gotta get that one. Like anybody who is like thinking, get it. It's going to be that kick in your back that makes you just take that last step.
That leap.
Exactly. Thank you. So tonight, Angel N Livas, my very first guest, dropped some major nuggets and some major wisdom here. And I thank you so much. We're going to end tonight. And you know what I always say, man, it's time for you to stop standing by watching other people win. Get that ass to work and go mind your damn business and drink your water. Cheers, Angel.
Salud.